This video is part of Perfect Competition. In it, I will discuss profit maximization. Remember that we are assuming that firms make decisions to maximize their profit. Profit refers to economic profit, which is total revenue minus total economic cost. Economic profit differs from accounting profit. Accounting profit takes total revenue and subtracts only explicit costs. Economic profit, on the other hand, takes total revenue and subtracts both explicit and implicit or opportunity cost. Consider the following example. Suppose there's a firm that produces some good, and when it sells the good, it earns revenues of $1 million. In order to produce this good, it has to pay for supplies and labor. The cost of these supplies and labor, called the explicit costs, are $850,000. Now, economic profit also considers the opportunity costs of these inputs, or the next best option for these inputs. Let's say the owner of the company's best outside offer for these resources, supplies, and labor equals $200,000. $200,000 is the implicit or opportunity cost. Accounting profit would be calculated by taking the revenue of $1 million and subtracting only the explicit costs of $850,000. So here, accounting profit is $150,000. Economic profit, on the other hand, takes the revenue and subtracts both explicit and implicit costs. Here, the economic profit is a negative $50,000. We can call that a $50,000 loss. So here we see that this firm makes a positive accounting profit, but makes a negative economic profit. If the owner of this business didn't pursue this business and instead pursued his or her outside offers, the owner would make $200,000. By staying open and doing this business, the owner is making an accounting profit of only $150,000. The economic profit shows that this business is essentially destroying $50,000 of the owner's wealth. The owner could make more in pursuing his or her best outside offer than the owner could make in this venture. Maximizing profit involves two important decisions. First, the firm has to decide what output to produce. That is, if the firm's going to produce at all, it has to determine what output level maximizes its profit or minimizes its loss. Then the firm has to decide whether or not it should stay open or shut down. That is, it has to decide if it's more profitable to stay open and produce that profit maximizing level of output, or shut down and produce no output at all. Let's start by looking at the output decision in more detail. How does a firm decide what output level maximizes profit? In Principles of Economics, you likely learn that the profit maximizing quantity is the quantity at which marginal revenue equals marginal cost. In intermediate microeconomics, we want you to know that this profit maximizing condition comes from optimization. Here the firm is trying to maximize profit, where profit, denoted pi, is a function of output and is equal to total revenue minus total cost. Note here that total cost includes both implicit and explicit costs. To maximize any function, here to maximize profit, you can take the derivative of that function, the derivative of profit, and set it equal to 0. That's what I'm showing here. To maximize profit, differentiate profit with respect to Q. Because profit is a difference, the difference in total revenue minus total cost, the derivative of this difference is the difference in derivatives. The derivative of total revenue with respect to quantity is called the marginal revenue, and the derivative of total cost with respect to quantity is called marginal cost. So, differentiating profit with respect to quantity and setting it equal to 0 gives us the familiar condition that profits are maximized when marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Let's use this chart to understand why marginal revenue equaling marginal cost is the condition for profit maximization. Here we see a chart that has quantities from 1 to 5 and their associated total revenue, total cost, marginal revenue, marginal cost, and profit. When the firm produces 1 unit of output, it generates $98 in total revenue, incurs $110 in total cost, and so makes a profit of minus $12. In producing 2 units, the firm generates $192 in total revenue, incurs $150 in total cost, and so makes a profit of $42. Let's look a little bit deeper by looking at what's happening on the margin. Here we see that when output goes up by 1 from 1 to 2, total revenue increases by $94. Selling the second unit adds $94 to the firm's total revenue. But in selling the second unit, total cost also increases from $110 to $150. The additional cost is $40. Here, the additional revenue is more than the additional cost, so profit does go up. More specifically, the additional revenue is $54 more than the additional cost, so total profit increases by $54. Whenever the firm's marginal revenue is more than marginal cost, the firm should produce that additional unit because in doing so, it's going to generate additional profit, which means total profit's going up. We can see that as the firm produces the third and fourth units as well. In producing the third unit, the firm generates $90 in additional revenue and only incurs $25 in additional cost. The $90 in additional revenue is $65 more than the $25 in additional cost, which means total profit increases by $65 from $42 to $107. In producing the fourth unit, the additional revenue again exceeds the additional cost, here by $11, and so profit in total increases by $11. The firm should always produce an additional unit of output when the marginal revenue exceeds the marginal cost, because in doing so, total profit will go up. However, note what happens now when the firm produces the fifth unit. The fifth unit will generate a revenue that exceeds the cost. So sometimes people think, well, that sounds like a good deal. The firm should produce the fifth unit because it will earn $450 in revenue, which is more than the $350 cost that it will incur. However, if we look at this on the margin, we see that in producing the fifth unit, the additional revenue of $82 will not pay for the additional cost of $100. Here, the additional revenue is $18 less than the additional cost, which is why we see total profit fall by $18. Allow me to summarize. Anytime a firm's marginal revenue is more than its marginal cost, the firm should increase its output. because in increasing its output, it will increase its total profit. Whenever a firm's marginal revenue is less than its marginal cost, the firm should lower its total output. In lowering its total output, its profit will go up. Whenever the firm's marginal revenue equals its marginal cost, there's no further adjustment to output that could increase its profit. Therefore, output is at its best level. Profit maximization occurs when marginal revenue equals marginal cost because no further output adjustment will increase total profit.